It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
50s, financial independence is insight. Look, I think this is so great that we got Carol in the photo here. It looks like, because the way that thing cuts across her leg, it looks like she has like a high boots.
Oh, it does kind of.
It looks like my wife is all into the high boots right now, so maybe I'm hyper focused on that. But I thought that was interesting. But this is the thing. I like the 50s because when we talk about how you invest your time, this is where hopefully the runway is lined up. You're thinking about, what do I want to accomplish? When do I want to retire? How much do I need? This is the time when you want to make sure you measure twice and cut once.
I hear you say that so many times, Brian. I think it's so true because we have a lot of folks that they'll just say, oh, well, I'm going to retire at 60. I'm like, okay, well, cool. What kind of thought have you put into that, or how'd you come up with that? Oh, well, I just want to be done at 60.
I have enough money.
I know I can get to my 401k at 59 and a half, so 60 works, right? Make sure that you measure before you cut, because it is really, really hard to get that water back up the hill. And the 50s is when you need to start doing that.
Well, I want to say this is because might as well. Everybody accuses me of being a troll, so why not throw some troll comments out there? When we, when we do fire episodes and things like that, I am always shocked at how many comments come in talking about equating work with slavery, and I'm like, y'all don't have the same job I have. And I would tell you, Carol, who's on the slide right here, she's a perfect example. Yep. She doesn't have to work. I mean, this is one of those things, but and it's the same way. I'm at this stage where I don't have to work. Mm-hmm. This is definitely a long way from slavery. You should have purpose. You should have fun. Now, if you want to retire early, I love it, but I want you to build enough financial independence that you work under your terms, guys. This is why it is so powerful to start saving early and put your money to work.
And we think that in your 50s is when you really you need to know your number. The way that you can actually know, do I get to go to work because I want to, not because I have to? The way that you figure that out is by knowing what your number is and what your financial independence goal looks like.
Yeah, what are you retiring to? Do you have hobbies? Do you have a purpose for what you actually want to do? A second career, organizations you want to be involved with? Put some time into it. If you're going to plan how you're going to save for retirement, why not plan how you want to be in retirement? It makes complete common sense. So let's talk about where to invest your money, Bo. We talked about this already, but I'll let you repeat it. Asset location.
Now it matters, dare I say, even more, because there's a chance in your 50s, especially for someone who's retiring early, this is where you actually start pulling money out. Well, if you're going to leave the workforce before 55, you better really know where your assets are located, because you might not be able to get to all of them yet. Even between 55 and 59, there's only some you can get to, and then in your 60s, it opens up a little bit. You need to understand how you're building your different pots of money and where the money, when you retire, is going to come from.
Well, there's great planning opportunities. If you're focusing on asset location, having tax-free, tax-deferred, and after-tax money, you have a chance. If you're a retire early type person, you can manipulate the tax code by pulling from those different buckets. Pay attention to asset location. Very valuable stuff. Balancing your risk profile. I've already used this analogy, but Bo, it really is true. If you've won the game, don't blow it.
But we see it on the other side. Some people win the game and they just stop playing the game altogether, right? They say, oh, okay, well, I hit my number. Now I'm just going to sell everything, put it in a coffee can, bury it in the backyard. If you retire in your 50s or even your 60s, but you're going to live until your 80s or 90s, some portion of your portfolio still needs to be growing for you. So understanding your risk is about understanding it on both sides. Not being too aggressive, not being too conservative, being perfect Goldilocks.
And it just makes complete sense to understand those concepts on risk. Mm-hmm. Also, be debt-free. This is one of those guys, I've said this before, and I think it's always when I have a good concept, I bite on it like a bone, like a dog, and keep on grip as long as I can. Encumbrance and independence are on two separate parts of a dictionary. When you are financially independent, you need to be debt-free. So get rid of all those encumbrances.
And then we think that in your 50s, and possibly before this, but definitely in your 50s, when you are thinking about that measuring and cutting once and only leaving the workforce, it's not crazy to ask for professional help, to seek some guidance, someone who can look at Monte Carlo simulations, help you run scenario analysis, make sure that your risk actually is balanced. This is a great time before you make that big step to think about reaching out to a professional to help you navigate that.
You are the CEO of a 7-figure portfolio. Think about that. There's a lot of great things that come with that, but there's also a lot of risk associated with why not have somebody look over your shoulder or be a co-pilot, be in this with you to kind of make sure you don't screw it up and run it right into the ditch.
Yep.
So it just doesn't make sense. And then, Bo, I like to, what are some of the things we want to avoid on the investments?
You've said this in a lot of the previous decades here, investments that risk the farm. If you are rounding third and you are coming home and you're about to step on home plate, you don't do a backflip. You just finish the drill. You don't take crazy risks. You understand what you have, how your plan is structured, how it's supposed to be working. You don't get crazy. Again, it's really, really simple when you're young to build it up and reach financial independence. Once you're at financial independence, it's kind of easy not to screw it up. You just have to make sure you're not doing those things too.
Yeah, you don't have the time to rebuild it from zero.
That's right.
So make sure you take that into account. You don't want to have too much company stock. We've already talked about the fact that you want to make sure your human capital and your investment capital aren't occupying too much of the same space. And then, Bo, here's a good one because I think a lot of people have this false sense of being overly conservative. They hit financial independence and then they say, that's it. I'm done. Let's go to cash. Is that really how the world works?
Absolutely not. And we see this all the time. One thing that you need to be really aware of is if you are going to live for another 30, 40 years in retirement, 50 years
Come on,
in retirement.
be an optimist, Bo. I'm getting older.
Go ahead.
We're going to last this. Make this thing last.
You go ahead and go to Methuselah. So if you want to live that long, there's this thing called inflation. The price of a Coca-Cola is going to get more and more expensive through time. That's what happens. You want to make sure that your dollars, your army, keeps working for you. If all you do is pull it out and you just hold CDs or just hold cash or you bury it under the mattress, there's a chance you're not going to be able to purchase the same amount of goods later in retirement as you do early in retirement.
Well, and don't forget, interest rates are still in the basement. Yep. I mean, I know it's ridiculous that we all celebrate and do high fives that we make 1 to 1.5% on our savings accounts right now. Historically, that's still horrible.
Yep.
So if you want to keep your assets growing, you're going to have some money built for growth, some money built for security and being conservative. Make sure you understand that you're going to have a diversified portfolio. You don't want to be too conservative just because you've crossed that threshold. Bo, woo! I feel like we just did a sprint. You want another one? There we go. I felt like we just hit that thing hard. I mean, wide open. And now it's kind of our deep breath moment that we want to just thank you guys. We try to give you every decade all the things you need to think about, whether it's on our net worth series, we're focusing on the assets, the liabilities. Here we're talking about the behavior stuff, things you need to make sure you're checking the boxes on, as well as building memories, what to invest your time. These things are so powerful. We just appreciate you letting us come into your house, your gym, your car, wherever you're consuming this content, and just know we don't take it for granted.
I want to share a little secret with you. If you're someone who falls into either your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, or your 60s, if you fall into that category, we have something you should go check out. You should go out to moneyguy.com and check out our resources page. In addition to the shows that we're doing, in addition to the new blog that we're putting out there, we actually make resources available to you, whether it be a worksheet or a checklist or a spreadsheet or whatever. Go out there and check it out because we want you guys to have it. We want it to be the thing that allows you to learn. I'm going to screw it up. To learn and then apply and then grow, and we call that
the abundance cycle. But here's the question, Bo. What's the membership cost for the resource page?
It is absolutely zero.
Whoa, wait a minute. That is the abundance cycle. You come for free. You learn, apply, grow, and then you reach a level of success that you're going to need somebody in your corner.
You might have to give us your email address. It's not free. Reeves remind you might have to give us your email address. But that's it.
It's still free.
That's still free in my mind.
That's information is all it is. We need to know where our folks are. So, guys, seriously, go check it out. Abundance Cycle. We work with clients all over the country. Go to moneyguy.com. I want you to know we've been doing this since 2006. If you think this is zany and wild and maybe we make some mistakes, you ought to have seen this thing in 2006. This is actually the new and improved version. So thank you for tuning in, going on this crazy journey with us. We don't take it for granted, and we're having an absolute blast. And just thank you for being part of the Money Guy family. I'm your host, Brian Preston, Mr. Bo Hansen. We'll talk to you soon.